Ladies and gentlemen, the 2025 Brazilian Grand Prix is just around the corner, and everybody is wondering who has the advantage. And I'm gonna keep it very simple. On Saturday, it will be Max's advantage. On Sunday, it will be the McLaren driver's advantage. Verstappen will win the sprint race. He will qualify on pole. Then about the race, we will break it down as the video goes along, but that's like my overall original top of the funnel prediction. I'm gonna break it down. So on Saturday, it's gonna be raining, and we all know that Verstappen is the rain master. Verstappen in racing conditions in rain, he has the advantage over everybody. So in the sprint race, he's gonna win it. It doesn't matter where he starts, he will go ahead and make those positions up. There will be multiple, there can be multiple safety cars, VSCs, stuff like that. And in that situation, every time the race restarts, Norris will lose a position or two. Like it happens, like we have seen it in history. Every time there's a race restart, Norris is. So the guy behind always gets the read on him, and he always gets passed every time the race restarts. Whether it's a rolling start, standing start, like whatever the fuck, Norris is going to lose multiple positions. Max Verstappen will win the 2025 Brazil sprint. Then comes the main qualifying for the Sunday's Grand Prix, right? Now last year Lando Norris had pole in tricky conditions. This time it's gonna be Max Verstappen taking pole, and here is why. Last year, you have to understand, there are two reasons why Lando Norris got pole position in Brazil. The first reason is he had a good sprint. He had a good sprint race, and then the actual qualifying was postponed because of heavy rainstorm. So, he kind of had the time to absorb the wind, absorb the good vibes, be calm, recover, rest, chill, all that sort of things. Also, in 2024, last year, Verstappen was kind of screwed over. You have to admit it. The timing of the red flags when Lance Stroll crashed out, all of that, it was a little bit too suspicious. So Max Verstappen was screwed over. That's why he was knocked out in Q1 last year, starting from P17. At the end, it didn't matter. He won anyway. But those were the two key reasons why Verstappen was not in contention for pole. And Lando Norris kind of had a smooth mental execution, at least in the qualifying session of 2024 Brazilian Grand Prix weekend. But this time is gonna be different. First, Lando Norris will endure a difficult sprint race because of the rain. He's not good in rain. Every time the race starts or restarts, he's going to lose position. And this time he is battling against Piastri, he's battling against Verstappen, and Osama bin Russell, Lewis Hamilton, Charles Leclerc are going to be in the mix, and rain kind of neutralizes everything. Lewis is now, feeling good in the car. Leclerc is obviously good. Osama bin Russell, like the Mercedes boys and the Ferrari and the Red Bull, they're also fighting for P2 in the constructor standing. So they're going to be, very rough and open to taking risks. So you have to factor all of those things in the sprint race. And Verstappen is going to win the sprint race, so Norris will very likely have a bad sprint. How quickly can he mentally recover from that to go into another wet session, the qualifying session, where you have to put in one-shot laps? I am not sure he's going to be that comfortable. Obviously, he will still have the lead over Max Verstappen in the championship standings, but in terms of managing or handling or absorbing the Verstappen pressure, I don't think he's quite there. And I genuinely don't think Oscar Piastri is quite there as well. The performance drop that Piastri has shown in the last few races is simply because Verstappen is getting into his head and he is fucking up the car setup, especially in Mexico. When Norris is out there winning by half a minute and you are struggling so much, I mean, his pace was decent towards the end, I get it. But Piastri and Norris, both of them, they got Verstappen in their head. So Max Verstappen will win the sprint race. He will have pole position in the qualifying. Now let's talk about the main Grand Prix, right? The biggest question in the main Grand Prix is that how quickly and efficiently the McLaren drivers, who will start from like P8, P10, that sort of position, right in the middle of the midfield, how quickly can the fast McLaren drivers who are starting there can make it through the field – and catch up to Max Verstappen? That's the big question, right? Now, in the road, like in the way, on the way to Max Verstappen, who will be starting from pole. And if Verstappen is starting from pole, he is going to, secure his position going into turn one. There is no way you can overtake Max Verstappen into turn one if he is starting from pole. He is going to cut the corner, go like pretend to get shoved off the track. It's all a part of his plan. He will deliberately pretend to be, shoved off, ran wide, and he's like, well, he, pushed me wide. So I had to, do whatever it is. So he will just go up ahead and try to pull out a 5-second gap so that the penalty doesn't matter. That's his strategy. Either way. So how quickly can these McLaren drivers go through the field, not get stuck behind, whoever on the way, whether it's the two Ferraris, the two Mercedes. I think the two Ferraris and the two Mercedes may be ahead of both of the McLaren drivers, but I have been a little bit in doubt about Kimi Antonelli because he's the new guy. There could be other people too, Carlos Sainz, he is good. There are plenty of other good drivers. Oliver Bearman, he can put in a fucking lap. Isaac Hadjar is good in qualifying too. So if these guys get in the way, who are good in, defending their position, Oliver Bearman in particular, Isaac Hadjar too, Charles Leclerc is pretty good in, defending. Lewis Hamilton's defense is not that strong. And God forbid if Fernando Alonso outqualifies the two McLaren. So that's going to be hilarious. Either way, I don't think Norris and Piastri will make through the field as quickly as they would, as we have been led to believe. Yes, they have the fastest car, but you have to understand when Piastri and Norris are fighting each other, like they have to simultaneously, one of them has to simultaneously defend from the McLaren behind and attack the whatever car is there ahead first. If Piastri is leading Norris in the midfield, then Norris is thinking how I can get ahead of my teammate, while Piastri is thinking how I can defend against my teammates and still keep overtaking these midfield cars. Because, Verstappen is way up the road. And psychologically, obviously, it's going to play something. So I'm going to make the official prediction of the main race, Verstappen P1, obviously, because we want the People's Champion to win this time. McLaren drivers have not been able to provide us with some phenomenal entertainment by crashing into each other or doing some hard racing. Every time there's something fun that could happen, the papaya guys intervene and they take all the fun out of it. So obviously I'm going to pick Max Verstappen P1. I'm going to be cheering for that. Then P2 and P3, right? I would say P2, who do I want to say? Osama bin Russell. And then P3, I will say Lewis Hamilton. Why not? Because Brazil is, one of the tracks where Lewis had some great races, and, that's putting it lightly. So Max P1, Osama bin Russell P2, Lewis Hamilton P3, then I don't care. Piastri and Norris will be P5 and P6. So that's my prediction. I know it's extremely, what's the word for it? Retarded. But we have to keep believing. We have to keep believing, even if it's delusional. You have to believe the delusion in order to win. Thank you for watching. Like and subscribe, and I'll see you in the next one.